Ever had a camping trip go hilariously wrong? Meet the Johnsons, a family of four with a lively spirit and a thirst for adventure. Comprising of John and Jane, the parents, and their two bright-eyed kids, Jack and Jill, they were your typical suburban family. They were the sort who would go for weekend hikes, come rain or shine, and had a knack for turning the mundane into the extraordinary. One day they decided to take their love for the outdoors a notch higher, setting their sights on a camping trip to the dense, mesmerizing forests of the Pacific Northwest. A place famous for its towering conifers, lush undergrowth, and a variety of wildlife. They had visions of s'mores over a crackling fire, cozy tent nights, and awe-inspiring hikes. With their gear packed and spirits high, they were ready for their adventure, little knowing what lay ahead. Imagine the scene. Our enthusiastic family arrives at their chosen site, ready to set up camp. The Pacific Northwest forest, thick with towering conifers and dense undergrowth, offers a beautiful but challenging backdrop for their adventure. Their first task, pitching the tent. The tent, that iconic symbol of camping, becomes a canvas of confusion. The poles seem to have a mind of their own, tangling like spaghetti. Instructions are consulted, but they might as well be written in ancient hieroglyphics. The tent takes shape, or rather misshape, looking more like a modern art installation than a shelter. It's upside down, half inside out, and leaning dangerously to the left. But they persevere, high-fiving each other as if they've just constructed the Eiffel Tower. Now onto the campfire stove. This should be a simple task, right? Wrong. The stove, a compact contraption of knobs and grills, proves to be as elusive as the tent. It refuses to fit together properly, and when they finally coax it into a semi-recognizable shape, they can't get it to light. The dad, ever the optimist, attempts to start a fire with what he believes to be dry wood. Alas, the wood is as damp as the morning dew, and instead of a cozy fire, they end up with a smoke signal that could be seen from space. All the while, their misadventures are punctuated by infectious laughter, shared looks of disbelief, and an ever-growing collection of camping gear mishaps. Their failures become fodder for inside jokes, the kind that families treasure and retell at every gathering. Despite the chaos, or maybe because of it, the family spirit is unwavering. They are in this together, come rain or shine, or upside-down tents. They wear their camping blunders like badges of honor, proof of their shared adventure in the great outdoors. And so, with the camp looking more like a disaster relief zone, they decided it was time to explore the wilderness. The wilderness beckoned, and our brave, albeit slightly clumsy family ventured forth. Their journey into the heart of the Pacific Northwest was filled with the promise of excitement and the thrill of the unknown. But as anyone who spent time in this verdant wilderness knows, it's also home to a host of wild residents. Picture this: our intrepid explorers, eyes wide with wonder, stumbling upon a creature that appears to be the epitome of woodland cuteness. A black and white ball of fluff, scurrying along the forest floor. To the untrained eye, it appears to be harmless. To the seasoned outdoorsman, it's a skunk, a creature known for its distinctive fragrance, and not in a good way. But our family, not versed in the ways of the wild, mistakes it for a simple woodland critter. The ensuing scene is one of comedic chaos. Picture the father trying to pet the cute critter, the mother snapping pictures and the kids giggling in delight. Then the skunk, feeling threatened, does what skunks do best. In a blink, their joy turns into a desperate scramble as they find themselves in the midst of a stinky situation. Their encounter with the skunk was just the beginning. They also crossed paths with a curious raccoon that managed to run off with their trail snacks, and a family of deer that seemed more interested in their picnic lunch than the lush forest greens. Each encounter gave them a hilarious and sometimes humbling reminder of their naivety about the wilderness. Despite their blunders, they found that there was something profoundly beautiful about being so close to nature's wild inhabitants. The kids' faces lit up with wonder at every new creature they spotted. The parents, though initially flustered, began to see the humor in their predicament. Through all their wild encounters, they learned that the wilderness is a place to be respected and enjoyed, not feared. It's a place where the unexpected can become the most memorable part of the journey. And so, as the sun began to set, they decided to head back to their topsy-turvy camp, leaving the wild critters behind. With the day's adventures behind them, it was time to refuel with a hearty meal. But this family's idea of hearty was about to take a turn for the hilarious. Imagine this, the father, a man more accustomed to the whistling of a kettle than the crackling of a campfire, now tasked with being the prime provider of sustenance. With a hopeful glint in his eye, he gathers what he believes to be dry firewood. But alas, his optimism is short-lived. The wood is damp, and instead of a roaring fire, the family is met with a sputtering, smoke-filled disaster. The forest air, once filled with the sweet scent of pine, is now permeated with the acrid stench of failure. But remember, folks, where there's smoke, well, in this case, just more smoke. Now, what's a camping trip without some good old-fashioned hot dogs and marshmallows, right? Well, this family had other ideas. The mother, a creative spirit, decided to bring her love of experimental cooking to the great outdoors. Think tofu skewers marinated in a questionable concoction of leftover condiments, and a dessert of deconstructed s'mores, which, in layman's terms, was essentially a handful of chocolate chips, a few graham crackers, and a marshmallow that was supposed to be toasted over the non-existent fire, mind you. The kids, bless their hearts, were troopers. They bravely bit into the tofu skewers, their faces a comical blend of confusion and polite disgust. The deconstructed s'mores, let's just say they remained mostly deconstructed, but the beauty of it all was the laughter that echoed through the forest. Every failed fire attempt, every questionable meal was met with a chorus of chuckles. The smoke-filled eyes, the grumbling stomachs, they were all part of the adventure. And isn't that what camping is all about? The unexpected, the memories, the stories you'll tell for years to come. Despite the smoke-filled eyes and grumbling stomachs, the family ended the night with laughter and some unforgettable memories. As the dawn broke, our family packed up their chaotic camp, ready to head back to civilization. The wilderness had given them more than just a breath of fresh air. It had served up a full platter of hilarity and misadventures. From their comical attempts at setting up camp to their wild encounters and their culinary catastrophes, each moment was a lesson learned. They discovered that the great outdoors wasn't just about picturesque views, but about preparation, respect for nature, and the ability to adapt to unexpected situations. They learned that a tent is not so easy to pitch, especially when it's upside down. They found out that not all fluffy creatures in the forest are friendly, and starting a campfire with damp wood is a surefire way to fill your lungs with smoke rather than warmth. They left the forest with a newfound appreciation for the great outdoors and a series of stories they'd be telling for years to come.